Welcome to episode 10 of Bloomington Buddies. It's the first of the month. Hopefully everyone had a great Halloween. Jackson, what did you do for Halloween? What did you go as?
I went as Carmi from The Bear. Have you seen that show?
I have not.
You have not? It's basically a cooking show, kind of. It's like basically all about cooking, running a restaurant, but it's really good, though. It's really good. I'm sure a lot of people know about it. The outfit is really simple. It's just a white t-shirt with the apron, but the hard part was like trying to replicate all the guy's tattoos on my arms. So I brought this like little makeup crayon and was like drawing all of his tattoos on my arm. So pretty good though. It was a pretty good hit. How about you?
I went as Walter White just because I have the hat and a pair of sunglasses.
Just say.
So that's what I went as. I lost the hat at a party, so there's that. I think it's at my buddy's house. I don't know if he has it still, but I'll be a little disappointed if I can't get that back. I'm pretty sure it's gone. But I had a lot of fun over Halloween. Before we start, I do want to give one quick shout out to Lake Central High School. They won their first IHSAA playoff game, football playoff game, since 2014. Since 2014, they had not won a playoff game, and they won a playoff game against a team that was 0-9. So big shout out to Lake Central. They play Crown Point, who's undefeated in round 2. So they're going from playing a winless team to an undefeated team. So we'll see how they do. If Eddie was still here, we would be arguing about that. But
oh yeah,
but that's something to keep it. I know we talked a little bit about high school football last year. Maybe
a little bit.
Maybe when the later rounds come, we can talk about it. But shout out to Lake Central. Good job on your first playoff win in 9 years. I couldn't believe that when I actually saw that.
The 9 years
that they hadn't won a playoff game in Indiana.
I mean, some high schools haven't won, in like ever.
But in Indiana, every team makes the playoffs.
It's fair.
So to not win a playoff game in 9 years, that's a long time. They haven't had a winning season in 9 years. That was the last time they had a winning season. They're 5-5 right now. So we'll see what they can do down the stretch. But as for the the meat and potatoes of today's show, we're going to talk about the World Series. We're going to talk about college basketball because by the next time we record, IU will have played a regular season game. They play this upcoming Tuesday. We record every Wednesday. So a little bit of college basketball. I made my own poll. I don't know how many people are going to like it, but I made my own poll. And we will round it out with college football. So I guess let's start with the World Series. And Texas leads it 2-1. That game last
3-1. 3-1.
Oh yeah, sorry, 3-1. That's what I meant. Last
They're
night.
1 win away.
Okay, so let's go back to game 1. So game 1 was Friday. I didn't catch a lot of this game, but I did look at the highlights. That was a crazy game, man.
A lot of people are saying perhaps one of, if not the best game in World Series history.
Probably not the best, but it's up there.
But it was such a back and forth battle the entire time. It was like, it's what you want to see in playoff baseball, And like tying up the game in the 9th by Corey Seager and then Garcia just absolutely launching the walk-off home run. It was like the bottom of the 11th or something, or 12th.
Bottom of the 11th, he had a solo home run.
It's exactly the type of baseball that you want to see in the postseason. It was so exciting to watch. It was so cool.
That was
so cool.
And then the D-backs turn around game 2, win 9-1.
Just went back and punched him in the mouth.
Series goes back to Arizona, and what everyone is talking about from game 3 at least was that missed ball 4 in that 9th inning at bat.
Yeah.
There was a post that got put out before the World Series, and it showed the whole plate umpire for each game and their rank. Mm-hmm. There was only one umpire ranked in the top 30. Only one, because you can't ump back-to-back World Series. That's just a rule.
Yeah.
But they only had one ump. I dropped my keys. They only had one ump. I'm just going to leave them. Actually, I'm not going to leave them there because I'm going to forget that they're there. So they only had one ump in the top 30, and that was the guy who was ranked number 1, umped game 2.
Mm-hmm.
So no umps in the top 30. It is I think it was to lead off the 9th inning. Texas was up 3-1, and Arizona batter draws a 3-1 count. Pitches, I mean, it's off the plate.
Yeah.
Like, it's off the plate. Like, if this is like Little League swing if it's close, it's like, that's not a major league strike.
No.
That is off the plate. Calls it a strike, ends up grounding out, or I forget what he did. Let's get better umps in the World Series. Like,
well, last year we had a guy that had literally a perfect game.
Pat Hoberg called a perfect game.
A perfect game as an umpire.
I'm sorry, guys. Umpiring's easy. I've umpired since I was 15 years old. It's easy. It's either a strike or it's not. Like, it's easy. I'm sorry. Everyone tells me, oh, you'll gain so much respect for umpires once you do it. And like, I've done it. It's not hard. It's not hard.
I've also umpired as well, so I don't 1,000% agree with you, but okay. Because there's always every single game there's going to be those calls that could go either way. But and like the big thing is you have to have confidence, obviously, if you're going to be an umpire.
You'll miss a call here and there. That was so clearly a ball, though. And that's not to say that the D-backs would have won the game, but they were clearly very upset about that. And it showed that they were hungover upset in Game 4 because the Rangers got out to a 10-0 lead in the third. That was just embarrassing for Arizona. 10-0 in the third. They tried to make a game out of it. They made it 11-7 in the ninth. But ultimately, it was just too late. They just got way too slow of a start in that game. So now they gotta win that. They gotta win their last three. And, I mean,
I'm rooting for it, honestly. Like, I'm rooting for, really just rooting to go to a Game 7. Like, that's what every single baseball fan wants, is to go to a Game 7 to keep the season going a little bit longer. But like, you know.
So the Cubs were down 3-1 in 2016. I think they were the last team to come back and win. Tonight's pitching matchup is Nate Eovaldi versus Zach Gallen.
But it's some important things to note. Garcia is out for the Rangers. They were still able to put up 11 last night, which, you know, kind of silenced a lot of the haters a little bit, you know, like some of the doubters saying that they wouldn't be able to pull it off without Garcia. But, you know, it still makes things interesting, though, the fact that they don't have him.
I forget how he got hurt.
It's like something with his lower back. I think he was swung at a pitch and he popped up, but as he was running out of the box, he was like clearly hurting. Like his back was like not good, apparently. So,
yeah, Zach Gallen's playoff ERA is 5.2. I don't know about that. Scherzer is also out, by the way, but I mean, he's not throwing tonight. I think
had a pretty damn good game last night.
Yeah, I think that if the D-backs win this series, it's going to go 7. I think if the D-backs win this game, they'll win Game 6. And then Game 7.
So you said if the D-backs win
tonight,
it'll go to a Game 7?
It'll go to a Game 7.
Okay, because what you said earlier is like if the D-backs win the series, then they'll go to Game 7. And I was like,
no,
yeah.
That's okay. If the D-backs win tonight, this is going to go to a Game 7.
I mean,
I don't know if they win tonight, though.
Aside from Game 1, because even for the longest time in Game 1, having the home field advantage didn't really matter to Texas, you know? And it hasn't mattered to the Diamondbacks so far. Like, that's just been the recurring thing this postseason, which makes it awesome, you know? It kind of defeats that, I guess, notion of having the home field advantage. It's like, in this series so far, and a lot of the other series, being home is no advantage at all.
I think the D-backs will win tonight because they put up all those runs near the end. They have at least some confidence going into this game, I feel, from those runs they put up at the end. They got their ace on the mound. I know you're talking about how much home field doesn't matter, but they are at home.
They are. No matter what happens, like, it still is an advantage having your own team.
I think they're going to come out and win because
they need it.
Texas has come so close to winning World Series before, and they've just fallen a little short. I think this is going to be an Arizona team that comes out motivated and wins tonight. That's my prediction. for tonight. I think the D-backs win 4-1.
I'm gonna agree with you. I do think that the Diamondbacks are gonna get one more. I think they're gonna go to 6. I think the Rangers get it at home though. I think the Diamondbacks win tonight, but the Rangers are gonna take it away at home.
Yeah, I feel like here's my thing. I think if the D-backs win tonight, the Rangers are gonna have to come home and be like, damn, we could have just won it. Now we gotta wait a day.
But at that point, it's also like, okay, we get a day of rest, which
Yeah.
kind of sucks. But at the same time, it's like, well, we get to rest, we get to recuperate, and we're at home. So
Yeah, I don't know. I personally, so you think if the D-backs win tonight, the Rangers will just win it in Game 6?
I think so. I don't think it'll make too much of a difference for them because, I mean, at that point, Arizona will still be down 1 game. They're still going to have to win 2 more games to win it all.
Yeah.
So it's like, for us, we just need to win and
Game
win.
7, anything can happen. That's part of why I didn't even mention who's going to win Game 7 because anything can happen. Yeah, I like the D-backs tonight. Low scoring game. I feel like. I think they win. Yeah, by the time we film next, the World Series will be over.
Yeah, by the time we come back for another episode, it'll all be over.
See, I'm very tempted to just say D-backs in 7 because I think they'll win tonight.
Well,
but that's not a safe pick.
You can't go against it though. We already have our picks.
That's true. What did I say? I said Rangers in 6.
You said Rangers in 6.
You said D-backs in 7, didn't you?
I think I said D-backs in 5.
I think you said D-backs in 7.
Did I say 7? I can't remember. But
both of which are still
an amazing
alive.
Prediction though. Yeah, both still alive though. Both still alive.
We'll see. I don't really know what we're gonna. We'll see.
Because I know I did the opposite of you. Because I know you took the Rangers, so I wanted to do the opposite.
All right. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. I think the Rangers I think they should really close this out now. I think if they want to win this series, they got to close it out now.
Yeah.
Like, don't be messing around, going back and forth between cities. You got to win this thing now. All right. I want to talk about college basketball. Specifically IU basketball because
of course,
because that's really the main point of this show when basketball season comes on, is just we talk about IU basketball.
Yeah, I remember that being the main focal point a lot last year, whether it was men's basketball or women's basketball.
We started every show with IU men's and women's. So they had their first preseason game against UIndy, which I will note was a 1 seed in the D2 tournament last year. And people have said that they are better than a lot of the teams IU plays in their non-con. Like their first couple games are against Army, Florida Gulf Coast, North Alabama, or something like that. People are saying that UIndy is better than those teams. That being said, they looked bad to start the game. They looked bad. This was a tale of 2 games. I'm going to talk about the first half. First half, they looked bad, man. They looked bad.
Yeah.
I can't even lie.
Keep going. Yeah, keep going.
I'm not going to complain at all about the defense. I thought the defense looked great. They just look so out of sync on offense, and I get that. I completely understand that this is a lot of these guys' first time playing together. They got 6 new players or something like that.
Yeah,
and I get that they're replacing 4 starters. I get that. They just did not look good, man. They just did not look good. Kellel Ware, 7'2", is out here missing layups right under the basket. Mackenzie Mbako looked kind of lost on the court at some points in time.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't connecting on easy passes. They went throughout the course of the game. They shot 11 of 20 from the free throw line. That's unacceptable. They're free throws. You got to do better than that.
55%. They've got 30% from 3-point and 48% field goal range.
So this is not a team that's going to shoot a ton of threes. This is a lengthy team that will get out and run and try to push the ball down court and work it inside. This is not a team if it's open they'll shoot, but this is not a team that's going to rely on the 3-point shot a lot.
But yeah, like you said, the defensive side of things looked really good. 10 turnovers, 10 steals. So I mean,
yeah,
pretty good. But on the other end, though, UIndy, 18 turnovers for our offense. That's...
The defense looked really good. I thought the only shots Indy was really making were like threes near the end of the shot clock. Like this defense looked really good, and I was impressed with that. I think the defense could be a lot better than they were last year because Xavier Johnson is a guy that's like a defensive minded guard. Like that's his game, is locking up guards on defense. So, and then in the second half, they looked a lot better. They ended up winning by 20 something. Kello Ware looked a lot better in the second half. He was getting a lot of easier shots, like a lot of wide open dunks. He has a great presence under the rim. I'm basically gonna quickly just touch on the new guys. Kello Ware looked a lot better in the second half. He was shot blocking. He's a good defensive presence. On offense, I think he needs to gain a little bit of weight because I feel like he's just not big enough to like bat guys down. Mm-hmm. Like Trace was big enough to just bat guys down in the paint. Kello Ware just doesn't have enough like meat on his bones. Like he's a skinny guy. Like on defense, he could get his arms up there and block some shots, but like on offense, I want to see a little bit better of a post presence because it really wasn't there. Mm-hmm. Mackenzie Mbako, top recruit, Mr. Taco Bell. There were just some points in time where he kind of looked like lost on the court and like didn't know what to do. And that's something that we saw a little bit from JHS last year. Like his first couple games, he didn't do much. Like
I remember kind of saying that throughout the whole year. Like I remember
similar players. They're both top 5. Like
obviously,
recruits.
like he's a very talented player, but I didn't think he was going to go as high in the draft as he did. Because I wasn't super impressed. But JHS still, like, again, fantastic player. At
the end of the season, he kind of figured it out.
Yeah.
He figured out how to play at the next level.
Especially after those Purdue games. After the Purdue game, because he kind of carried the team those Purdue games, you know. So
yeah,
I mean,
I think after Mackenzie Mbako gets a few games under his belt, he's going to be really good because he was making some shots. He was making some shots in this game. Anthony Walker, I was really impressed with. I think I was impressed with him the most out of any of the new guys. Anthony Walker looked really good. He's got a lot of length. He's super athletic, man. Super athletic, a lot of length. I want to see this guy get some significant minutes because he was running around, shot blocking, hustling. I think Anthony Walker is going to be a very valuable depth piece because Renew and Ware are going to start at forward at like power forward and center. But Anthony Walker should get some playing time. He, I thought, looked really good throughout the game. Like he didn't play a lot, but like when he was playing, he was running around making plays. I think Anthony Walker needs to get some playing time. Peyton Sparks also barely got to play, but he brings the energy, man. That's a guy that is happy to be there. Like, he was smiling. He was, like, sticking his tongue out after he made, like, a shot or something. He was pulling down some tough rebounds. He had, like, a nice spin move inside. Another guy I want to see get some significant playing time because, like, you need depth throughout the course of a season. You need depth. So I want to see Peyton Sparks get some playing time. I thought he looked good. Gabe Cupps. Okay, Gabe Cupps looks like he's 16 playing against grown men. But his defense, I thought, was really good. He played some great on-ball defense, like man-to-man. His defense is D1 ready, for sure, I feel like, for Gabe Cupps. The offense, I mean, he made a layup, like, okay. The offense didn't look great, but the defense is there for Gabe Cupps. I feel like, can go toe-to-toe with anyone on defensively. Like, maybe not anyone, but he could definitely play his fair share of defense. I would say he wouldn't get that much play time, but IU's guard depth is not what you'd really want it to be. Because Galloway and Johnson are going to be your 1 and your 2. And then you got, I think, like, Gabe Cupps is next in line pretty much, unless I'm missing. All right, and CJ Gunn, CJ Gunn's not new. He played here last year. He takes some shots where I'm like, the talent's there with CJ Gunn. The talent's there. Mm-hmm. The shot selection sometimes is just off. Like, he takes some shots where I'm like, you should not be taking that shot. like cycle the ball a little bit. So I want to see better shots, like because like he's made some of those tough shots. I just want to see better selection. Out of CJ Gunn in particular. I don't know if do you want to talk about anyone in particular?
I mean, you kind of covered everything that I was thinking about for the game. I mean, I didn't watch the game live, but I saw the highlights for it and everything. But yeah, I mean, I think you basically covered everything. I mean, do we want to even talk about M'Baku getting arrested?
Okay, so this is kind of old news.
It's old news. It's not even relevant.
We could talk about it. All right, so if you guys go to IU, you know, like in downtown Bloomington, like on like Walnut Street, there's a Taco Bell on like Walnut and like I think 8th Street.
I think so.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, so basically what ended up happening, from what I've heard, is Mackenzie M'Baku went to this Taco Bell, and I guess was asked to leave for some reason. I don't know. What I'm guessing,
very stupid reason.
What people are saying is they were saying they were closed when they weren't, or something. That's like a rumor that's been going around. I will say that Taco Bell is consistently the worst run Taco Bell in America.
And that's not just you saying it. That's like everyone.
I've been to that Taco Bell at like I've been to that Taco Bell at like 2 a.m, and it took my buddy like 45 minutes to get a crunch wrap. Like, I'm not even kidding. So eventually they called the cops to ask him to leave, and basically he was like, "No, I'm not leaving." And then got taken in for criminal trespass and resisting arrest, and was let out the next day. And a bunch of Kentucky fans are like, "Oh, what a thug! Kick him off the team." It's really not that big. Like okay, opposing fan bases and like Purdue fans and Kentucky fans and Illinois fans will like say it's a big deal. Like, it's really not. It's really not. And I'm like, it's really not. Like, oh, his character is not mature enough. Like, yeah, maybe he should have left, but like, it's really not that big of a deal.
It's not. It's not a big deal. Yeah.
All right. I have a Power 40 I would like to list off.
Okay.
Because, so people do top 25, top Power 32, Power 36. I'm going to 40 because that gives you your seeds 1 through 10. That gives you your 1 through 10 seeds. Here are my preseason projections. I'm going to go from 40 to 1. And you could let me know if you disagree with anything at all.
Okay.
I think it's a pretty good list. All right. 40, North Carolina. And they're honestly lucky they're even at 40. Because this team was not good last year. This team I don't think I'd put in the top 60 last year.
Really?
They were bad last year. And they got Caleb Love left, which, to be honest, Caleb Love leaving is like a blessing and a curse. Because this guy just did not pass the ball. It was a ball hog and shot basically every shot. Him and R.J. Davis like couldn't communicate together because R.J. Davis likes to do the same thing. You had they basically had two James Harden mindset players. They did pick up Cormac Ryan, a transfer from Notre Dame, who I'm a fan of. But ultimately, they're still not that good. I'm really only putting them here just because their name is North Carolina. And they have like some talent on their team. But people that have them like in the top 15, top 20, no, not happening. 39, Dayton. Dayton's always like a team that you got to watch out for. They have some experience. Dayton's looking to be, I think, pretty good this year. 38, Iowa State. They had, I think, a top 5 defense last year and a 100th plus ranked offense. They were winning games 55-48, but, they're a good team. Northwestern at 37. They lost some people, but they're still pretty good. 36, Virginia. You always got to respect the defense. And I forget their coach's name. Tony Bennett. I get him and Jay Wright confused. Jay Wright's retired now. So I have Virginia 36. So 10. So basically 10 seeds: North Carolina, Dayton, Iowa State, Northwestern. 9 seeds: Virginia, I have West Virginia at 35. I have Xavier 34, Providence 33. Xavier and Providence were both really good last year, but Xavier lost a lot from a team that was a top 3 seed. And Providence, they're usually really good. 8 seeds. I have Ohio State, Villanova, Colorado, Wisconsin. So Wisconsin was ranked really highly last year and then didn't really pan out. But they have a lot of people back. A lot of people have them way higher than 29. I think 29 is fair for them. 30, Colorado. They have a pretty experienced team. And Villanova. So the reason I'm putting Villanova 9 spots ahead of UNC, despite them being basically in the same situation, Villanova had a first-year coach last year. I can't remember his name. But they had a first-year head coach, and lost a lot of like recruits and stuff because Jay Wright retired. But they got some really good transfers coming in. I can't remember everyone's name or where they're from, but I looked at the list. They have some good players coming in. So I have Villanova at 31, Colorado at 30. They're pretty good. 28, I have St. John's. So St. John's was not very good last year, but they went out and hired Rick Pitino to be their coach. And they got some good transfers in. This is a team this is a boom or bust team. I don't know what you think about St. John's, but they got some decent level transfers in. I think they're either going to do really good or really bad. I think 28's fair.
I think that's pretty fair. Yeah, it's obviously way smaller school, so but they've made a big impact so far. I remember hearing a lot about them. I don't really know much about them, but yeah, they made a lot of noise last year, so I think they still have the potential to do more. So.
Yeah. 26 and 27, I have Alabama and Auburn. I have Auburn 26, Bama 27. Bama, they don't have Brandon Miller anymore. They were the number 1 team last year, at least going into the tournament. They lost a lot, but, they got some experience from that really good team. Not all of it, but still some of it. I think 27's good. 26 for Auburn. I think that's fine. Top 25 now. I have Maryland at 25. Maryland was sneaky good last year. They had some really good players. And they won a tournament game. They made it to the second round. And they have some people back. Julian Reese is a dog. I think 25 for Maryland is fair. 24, I have Illinois. Terrence Shannon and Coleman Hawkins are back. As much as I dislike Coleman Hawkins, he's still a pretty good player. They also have Dane Danger back. Illinois 24. I think they will be a top 25 team. 23, I have Indiana. I don't know if that might be too high. I'll say the potential is there for them to be a top 25 team. If they could put everything together, they could be in the top 25.
It's just really all about the chemistry of the team, and that's it. Like you said, they have this first game to kind of to work with each other, to kind of build that chemistry a little bit more, so it's going to take time. I think that's a pretty good place to put them. Me personally, I don't know if I would put them in the top 25, if I'm being totally honest, because like I said last episode, we lost our 2 number 1 draft picks. So It's that's very, very hard to recover from. So I don't know if personally I would put them in the top 25, but I don't see any issue with 23.
So. I'll say they have the potential, peak potential, to be better than last year. Because last year they had to rely on essentially 2 players to carry the team at some points, which I did not like that they had to do that. Mm-hmm. Now their attack is a lot more well-rounded. Even if you just look at the scoring leaders from this preseason game, you had Ibaka with 14, Ware with 14. I think Xavier Johnson had 9. Galloway had 8. It was way more spread out. Teams don't have to focus all their defensive attention on 2 players. So the potential's there. 22, I have UCLA. 21, I have San Diego State. So UCLA and San Diego State were both 2 really highly ranked teams that did really well, but lost some people. But they still got some people. I think my biggest flaw with some of these rankings is I put too much emphasis on the previous year. But we'll see. 20, I got Kentucky. I think that's fair. They were a 6 seed last year. They got a little bit better this year. So I think that's fine. 19, I have St. Mary's. St. Mary's was a 5 seed last year. You know what you're going to get with St. Mary's. You got 5 white guys that play incredible defense and score 50 points a game. That you know what you're getting with St. Mary's. This is, I think, going to be one of the better St. Mary's teams. So I think 19 is fair. Arizona, I have at 18. Arizona, I don't think is that great. They lost to Princeton last year in the tournament. Like, a lot of people have them in the top 10. I think 18 is more than fair for Arizona. That's a team that I think people are overrating a lot. 17, I have USC. This is a team that was I forget what seed they were last year, but they made the tournament, and they bring in 2 top recruits in Bronny James and Isaiah Collier. Isaiah Collier is number 1 rated player. I don't know how good he's going to be. Bronny James, it's uncertain how much he'll play because I think he has an injury that he's going through. So I don't know how much he's going to play. But if he does play and lives up to his potential, this could be a really good USC team. I think I have them as the highest rated Pac-12 team, which might be kind of interesting going forward. Yeah, I don't have any Pac-12 teams ahead of USC. So I think it's going to be between UCLA, USC, Arizona for who's going to win the Pac-12. At 16, I have Texas. This is a team that brings in Max Asmus, the guard from Oral Roberts that was tearing everyone up that one tournament run, and helped them get to like a 30-2 record last year. They did lose to Duke, but he's a dog, and he's going to spend his senior year with the Longhorns. I think they're going to be really good. 15, I have Texas A&M. They have one guy, I forget his name. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but everyone's saying he's going to be an All-American. This is a team that was a 7 seed last year and kind of got stunned by a hot Penn State team, but they returned pretty much everyone. This is going to be a really good Texas A&M team. I have them at 15. 14, I have Arkansas. I don't know how much value you want to put on this, but they did beat Purdue in a charity exhibition match at home. So take with that what you will. It's not an actual game, so I'm not putting that much weight on it, but it is something. 13, I have Baylor. I'm thinking this could be a little too high. See, Baylor always has really good depth. So, like, they lost L.J. Cryer, the transfer floater, to Houston. But their depth has been so good these past few years, they're going to have guys that are just going to plug in and replace him. Scott Drew is recruited really well. 12, I have Gonzaga. They landed a lot of transfers. They got Graham Ike from Wyoming, and they got another guy. I can't remember. I'm not very good with names when it comes to college basketball, but I'm really good with like team evaluations. I just look at teams and look at their numbers pretty much. I'm not the best person when it comes to names. 11, I have Creighton. This is a team that was 1 game away and 1 play away from the Final Four last year. And they have pretty much everyone back. They lost like 1 or 2 guys, but Creighton's still really good. At 10, I have Duke. And this is a team that everyone's putting in the top 5. I just don't see it. Like, this is a team that made the round of 32 last year, lost to Tennessee. And like, they got some recruits, but like, you can't have a bunch of freshmen lead your team. I think they'll be good. I don't think they're the best team in the ACC, though. Best team in the ACC I have is Miami. I have Miami at 9. They made the Final Four last year. And like I said, I might be putting way too much emphasis on last year, but they have everyone back pretty much besides Isaiah Wong, which is going to be a big loss. Isaiah Wong was definitely their best player, but they still have Nigel Pack. They still have a lot of crazy good depth. Miami, I think, will still be really good. At 8, I have UConn. They lost a lot more than I initially realized, but they're still a national title caliber team. So I have them at 8. 7, I have So now we're getting into the seriously really good teams. 7, I have Houston. This is a team that was a 1 seed last year and got upset by Miami. But they add L.J. Cryer to that team. And I think they're going to be really good. L.J. Cryer is a dog. He's really good. Houston is definitely going to be a team to watch out for, 1 or 2 seed for sure. Like they've been the last few years. There's been a Houston team that has just been able to get it done. 6, I have Tennessee. They added Dalton. This guy's got like a weird last name. This Dalton Knecht or something. He averaged like 23 points a game last year at Northern Colorado. which, like, yeah, it's Northern Colorado, but yeah, it's like 20 points a game. And Tennessee also beat Michigan State in a charity exhibition match. Without their two best players, without Santiago Vescovi, Tennessee won. And Vescovi's a really good player. Konech made some crazy plays, dude. Tennessee's going to be really good. I have them at 6. At 5, I have Marquette. This is a team that won the Big East tournament and regular season with some of the best offense in college basketball last year. They were ranked like in the top 5. I think they were even number 1 at one point in offensive efficiency. And they have everybody back. Everyone that's important, pretty much. Everyone's back for Marquette. They're the preseason favorite to win the Big East. I have them at 5. At 4, I have Purdue. Okay, they're going to be really well. They're going to be really good throughout the season. They'll probably get a top 2 seed. They'll be really good. They'll be contending for the Big Ten. They're the favorites, well, along with one other team, which I'll mention in a minute. And then they'll lose to it. Then they'll lose to a nobody team in March. That's what's going to happen. I don't know why we're even putting stress on this. Like, everyone's back. They have like 89% of their minutes returning. But is Braden Smith going to win you a NCAA tournament game? Is Foster Lawyer going to run out and win you an NCAA tournament game? Because you need good guard play to win in the tournament. And their 2 freshman guards are now 2 sophomore guards. So we'll see how improved they are. But, yeah, they'll be a really good team throughout this season. They still have Zach Edey, which, by the way, is the best player in the country. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on Purdue?
I mean, it's basically the same team coming back, you know? So they won a shit ton of games. They were number 1 last year. So, I mean, as much as it hurts me to say it, I think they should be at least in the top 5. So, I mean, they got the same players. But, yeah, like you said, I mean, people shouldn't forget last year's tournament, though.
They'll lose in March. It doesn't matter who they play. They'll lose.
So, I mean,
there's been like 1 year in the last like 5 that they've actually beat their lower level seed. They made it to the Elite 8, lost to Virginia.
I think it would be appropriate, yeah, if they were number 5, just outside of the Final 4 teams, you know? Well, that's probably...
All right.
I don't know if I agree with my own take.
At number 3, I have Michigan State. I think Michigan State's the best team in the Big Ten because this is a team that made the Sweet 16 and was in an overtime game away from making it to the Elite 8. And they have really good guard play. A.J. Hoggard, Tyson Walker, those are 2 dogs. They're really good. They add Xavier Booker, who was the top high school player in Indiana, 5-star. They have another high recruit, I can't remember his name. Malik Hall, really good. They have everyone back, and I think the quality of players they have back is better than Purdue. And the guys they bring in, I think, are better than... I think Michigan State's the favorite to win the Big Ten. I think they're better than Purdue.
You think so?
I think so.
I don't think I disagree. I mean, like I said, I don't really know too much about college basketball. Like, I'm not too in-depth on college basketball that I can really provide much more.
Yeah.
So I apologize about the lack of analysis there. So,
all right. Number 2, I have Kansas. This is pretty much everyone's number 1. And if you put them number 1, I'm not gonna disagree with you. But, like, okay, they got Hunter Dickinson, who is overrated, but he's still good. They have DeJuan Harris. They have Kevin McCullough. I think they're just loaded. They're always loaded. Like, oh, they don't have Grady Dick. Who cares? They're still Kansas. They're still loaded. Like, Bill Self has once again built a very good team for this year. Number 1, I have FAU. And I know people aren't going to like this, and that's fine because preseason rankings ultimately don't matter. But this is a team that went 31-3 in the regular season, made it to the Final Four, was a buzzer beater away from winning the national title, or not winning, to going to the national title. And they have everyone back. They have that 7-footer from Russia back. They have Jonell Davis, region rat Jonell Davis. He's a Gary kid. Love Jonell Davis. They're just a complete team. They're the definition of a complete team. They get after it on offense. They get after it on defense. And part of the reason I have them at number 1, I looked at their schedule. They have 3 games that I think is even like a possibility that they lose. And those 3 games are neutral site against Arizona, neutral site against Illinois, and at Memphis. Those are the only 3 games I think there's even a possibility that they lose. Now, this is not to say that they're the favorites to win the national title, because remember, this team is Wichita State. Wichita State was a 9 seed that made the Final Four, and then went undefeated the next year and lost in like the second or third round. I'm not saying that they're going to go out and win a national title, but I think they will be the number 1 seed when the season ends. I think they go undefeated. That's just my opinion. I think they go undefeated. I don't think anyone beats them. I think they're better than Illinois. I think they're definitely better than, okay. At Memphis, I think could be tough because like basically any road college basketball game is tough.
Yeah.
But like neutral site against Illinois and Arizona, I'll put them up against anyone. I think if they're going to lose a game, it'll be the one against Arizona because it's in Vegas. Mm-hmm. That's basically a home game for Arizona.
Yeah.
IU had to deal with that last year. That was the worst officiated game of all time last year, that IU-Arizona game. I'm not going to get into that. But it's time to make our national title picks. Our final.
Oh, Lord.
We're going to make a Final Four. We each got to make a Final Four. Now, here's what I always look for. I look for why here's my problem when it comes to making picks like this. I go, okay, why is this team not going to win it? And I end up finding a reason for like everyone.
Why are they not going to make it?
I'm like, I look and I'm like, yeah, they're good, but this. Yeah, they're good, but this. If I had to make a Final Four, this is tough. I'm going to go Marquette. I think Marquette's really good. I'm going to go Marquette. I want to take Tennessee too. I'm going to take Tennessee. I'm going to go Marquette, Tennessee. I'll take FAU. I'll take FAU to make the Final Four. Actually, no, because they're going to be the number 1 seed and then lose. They're gonna get like really highly ranked and then lose in like the second round, because that's what happened to Wichita State. So I'm not gonna take FAU. I really like Marquette and Tennessee. I really like them. I'm gonna take Houston too. I'm gonna take Houston. I think they're really well equipped for March. And I'm gonna take IU. Because bias.
Because why not?
Because bias. And then to win it all, I'm taking Houston.
Okay.
I'm taking Houston. I think, actually, I'm going to make a bracketology video, like, eventually. I might completely change this. You know what? Just scrap that. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. I'm making a bracketology video sometime this week. Watch that, because I need to actually look at a bracket format. I can't just pick and choose 4 teams. I can't do it.
We should get Eddie on the phone for one of these episodes. Bring him back for an episode or 2.
We should,
just to get his opinion.
We should, but no, I'm not gonna just this team. I need to look at a bracket and do it. So we'll do that later. Maybe I'll pull up the bracket next episode.
Go ahead, man.
We have college football to talk about. Holy cow, we're like way. You said the person after us canceled, right?
Yeah. You're good.
I won't keep you here all day, but
I'd say like we've got until 15, so you're fine.
All right, we have picks to make. My computer was almost dead, so I had to like not use it for anything just now.
We had some technical difficulties as well before starting.
Yeah, we did have technical difficulties. I didn't realize how long I took talking about that. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Okay. There are some good games this week. Oh, okay. One thing we do have to talk about. We have to talk about the first official college football playoff rankings. Because the first rankings by the committee that matters. Like, they just use the AP poll, and then the actual college football playoff committee makes their first. I didn't even know that the first rankings were being announced yesterday. I did not know what was going on. But
I didn't realize it either until you sent it to me.
But then I saw they were getting posted. And, I mean, okay, they're not bad. Ohio State should not be number 1, though.
No.
They just should.
Obviously, I'm biased, but
I get
Ohio State should not be number 1.
Okay, I get that they have a win against Penn State and a win against Notre Dame. Like, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just watch them, they just don't look like the number one team in the country.
Well, I mean, it's what I was telling you yesterday. So Quincy sent this to me yesterday over Instagram, and basically I went not really on a rant or anything, but basically just like I spent this whole monologue talking about not Michigan, but Georgia. Really ideally, and honestly, objectively, Georgia should be the number one team. They haven't lost a game in almost 3 years. So who else are you putting above that? I mean, you can only argue strength of schedule so much. Like, I guarantee you that's what the comments are going to be when I say that.
Yeah.
But it's like you can only argue strength of schedule so much when you have to, in reality, you have to look at the bigger picture. Like, Georgia has not lost a game in almost 3 years. They're the back-to-back national champions for a reason. They're still undefeated. And they're on track to make the playoff again, you know? So, like, if anybody should be number one, it should be Georgia.
All right, so there are, I think, 13 teams on this list. The top 13 still have a shot at the college football playoff. Now, some of these teams need more help than the others. Teams that basically control their own destiny: Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, Washington. Those are the teams that are still undefeated. Oregon can win out. Texas can win out. Bama can win out. Oklahoma was undefeated, took a loss to Kansas. I was so close to picking Kansas, bro. I was so close to picking Kansas, but hindsight is 2020. Penn State needs some help. They need to get a winning. They need to win that Michigan game. By the way, IU was so damn close to beating Penn State. They had that game tied.
Infuriated me so much. Oh my god,
dude.
I
don't even want to get into that. Here's what I'm wondering, though.
I will say, like, the sideline tiptoe ballerina dance that the guy did for the touchdown to seal the deal for Penn State. That was pretty beautiful, I gotta say.
But Penn State,
that was pretty nice. He was like tiptoeing his way. He looked like Jack Sparrow tiptoeing his way into the end zone.
Ultimately, Judgment Day for Penn State is when they play Michigan. Because, you got an 8-point loss to Ohio State on the road. Okay, fine. You get Michigan at home.
Yeah.
You want to be considered a contender, you win that game. Here's what I'm wondering, though. Who's making the playoff? Because there are so many teams, I think more than most years, that have a legitimate chance.
I think you talked about this last week, didn't you?
I did talk about it last week, but
I totally agree with you.
I'm looking at all these 7-1 and 8-0 teams, and I'm like, how are they narrowing this down to 4?
It's a lot. It's the final year of the 4-team playoff, right?
Yeah. Okay. I think Georgia. Ultimately, here's what I think happens. I think Georgia wins out. I think they're the number one team.
You think so?
Yeah. I'm just gonna leave number 2 to Ohio State, Michigan winner. I'm not gonna say which team, because ultimately I don't know who's gonna win that game. I'm just gonna say Ohio State, Michigan winner.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think Florida State is finishing undefeated?
Well, who else do they play? I'm trying to remember.
They have Pitt, Miami, North Alabama, at Florida. And then the ACC title game.
Well, Florida is going to be... It sounds dumb to say because Florida isn't great, but Florida, it's one of the... Behind Michigan and Ohio State, it's one of the biggest rivalries in the country. So Florida's still going to come out to play.
Sunbelt Billy can rally the troops. Maybe.
Yeah, they're still going to... So they've got a tough schedule ahead. I'm going to say I don't think that they do finish undefeated.
I think someone's beating them because they got their 2 biggest rivalry games. I don't know. You see, but I don't know who's going to beat them, though.
But that's not to say that they're not a good team, though. Like, if they end the season with 1 loss, they're still a great team.
But they're not making the playoff if they lose a game, I don't think.
You don't well, Ohio State did it last year.
Okay, I don't think they're making the playoffs if they
Ohio
lose a
State
game.
made the playoffs last year in the same category as the team that beat them.
There's too many teams this year for Florida State to get in with a loss.
Okay, so if Florida State loses, who else is making it?
The AC, I don't know how much people are going to value a 1-loss ACC champion. If they lose the ACC title game, done. But if they lose a regular season game but still win the ACC, I don't know how much value they're putting on a 1-loss ACC champ.
I disagree. I think Florida is in a safe enough position now where if they lose just 1 game, they can still make the playoff. I think that they can still make it because
They
you saw,
can,
well, you
but
saw it
I
last
just
year
don't
though.
know.
Like it was kind of insane the fact that Ohio State made the playoff last year.
Okay, but last year there weren't as many like high quality teams behind them.
That's
Florida
fair.
State's got
That's fair.
Washington, Oregon, Texas, Bama, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, all a game behind them.
Okay, so if Florida State if Florida State loses a game, who else is making it? Because the only other team that can make it is Washington.
Here's my next question though. Is Washington winning out? From these last 2 weeks, I don't think so. They have 3 games in a row.
I would be shocked if they finished undefeated
They
the rest of
have
the season.
3 games in a row against ranked teams. I will say this though.
I was shocked. I would be
I
befuddled.
think a 1-loss Washington gets in over a 1-loss Florida State.
Really?
Because I think they would put more value on the Pac-12 than the ACC. That's just what I think. But
I don't
these
know.
last
I don't
last
think
2
they
games.
would.
So basically, after they beat Oregon, they beat Arizona State 15-7, and I was like, all right, I'll give them that game. Don't do it again. And then they did it again because they really almost maybe should have lost that game to Stanford. Stanford dropped like a wide open pass on like 3rd and 2.
Yeah.
Or on 4th and 2.
Washington's had too many close calls to the point where I would be comfortable saying, yeah, I don't think that they're going to finish undefeated.
Okay, so
But
does Oregon lose again?
does Oregon lose again? Who have they got?
Okay, ultimately, here's the Pac-12 standings. Washington's 5-0 in conference. USC's 5-1. Oregon's 4-1. Oregon State, Utah, Arizona, UCLA are all 3-2, and then the rest of the teams aren't really worth mentioning. But I don't know who comes out of that as the top 2, and whoever wins that I don't know how much they would put on a 1-loss Pac-12 champ because here's another thing. You've got Texas and Oklahoma. I don't think Texas loses the rest of the year. They have Kansas State at home. That'll be tough. At TCU, at Iowa State, Texas Tech, and then they'll probably play Oklahoma again.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, there are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 teams in the Big 12 that are 4-1 in conference. But I think Texas is definitely the best out of those.
I think so too. Yeah.
So Texas
they were
is
the
going to make
number-
it back.
They were the number 3, 4 team for the longest time until they lost.
Yeah, I think Texas makes it back. I think Texas finishes with 1 loss. Bama. Here's the thing. If Bama wins the SEC, if they win out and beat Georgia, they're getting in. Doesn't matter who they've played or whatever. I know I said that.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. They're making it. But I don't think they're beating Georgia. I don't think it's happening. And they have a tough game this week, which we'll talk about. Oklahoma, I don't think is winning out. I don't think it's happening. Penn State and Ole Miss. Ole Miss needs Bama to lose twice to even make the SEC title. So Ole Miss could finish 11-1, but they wouldn't make the SEC title. They're not getting in. Here's what I think it's going to come down to. I think Georgia finishes undefeated. And then either Michigan or Ohio State's finishing undefeated. I'm just going to leave that up to that. And then here are your last 2 spots. I think it's going to be a 1-loss Florida. It's going to be between a 1-loss Florida State, a 1-loss Washington, or a 1-loss. I'm just going to say 1-loss Pac-12 champ because Oregon could still run the table or whatever.
Okay.
1-loss Pac-12 champ and a 1-loss Texas. So, okay, 1-loss Florida State, 1-loss Pac-12, 1-loss Texas, and a 1-loss Michigan, Ohio State loser.
Well, that was going to be my next question for you. It was do you see a repeat of last year? So whoever loses the Michigan Ohio State game goes undefeated goes undefeated the rest of the season. Whoever loses Michigan Ohio State, do we see a repeat of that?
So ultimately, you're gonna have to pick 2 spots for 4 teams. I don't know who they pick. So your 4 spots, I gotta say it again. 1-loss Pac-12, 1-loss Florida State, 1-loss Texas, 1-loss Michigan Ohio State loser.
And you have to pick between those 4 for the final 2 spots.
For the final 2 spots. because I don't think Florida State and Washington are going undefeated. I just don't see it happening. I just think one of them's going to lose. And here's the thing: if one of those goes undefeated, they're in.
They're in. Yeah.
I just don't see it happening.
I don't see it either.
Here's the thing: I think it's going to be really hard for them to put a one-loss Michigan or Ohio State with no conference title when the three others will have one.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Is Ohio State really better than Oregon? Is Oregon really better? People are gonna say some shit like that. I think they'll give it to Texas because I think that win against Bama is just, I think, so good for their resume.
I think I would agree with
Texas.
I think I would agree with you. I think Georgia would go number 1. Number 2 is winner of Michigan, Ohio State.
3 is Texas.
3 and 4 are Texas or Florida State, I'd say, interchangeably.
I think the Pac-12 gets in over Florida State. If the here's the thing,
I don't
though.
know.
There's a really good chance the Pac-12 just finishes. The Pac-12 champ finishes with 2 losses, which I think ultimately could happen.
Could.
Ultimately, that's probably what's going to happen. That's probably what's going to happen. If I'm,
you think a 2-loss team is getting in the playoff?
No, wins the Pac-12.
Oh, I thought you were saying like the Pac-12 champ will still get in.
I think ultimately the Pac-12 champ is going to have 2 losses. Because do you really trust Washington? I don't. I don't.
Well, that's my thing. It's like they're undefeated right now. The only scenario where I could potentially see them giving Washington the spot is if Michael Penix wins the Heisman.
Yeah.
Because if Michael Penix wins the Heisman, then ratings skyrocket if you put Washington in the playoff. So, like, that's definitely... They're going to say that that's not part of the reason why they chose him.
I get what you're saying.
But, like, the committee's going to say that that's not the reason why they chose Washington. But if they do choose Washington, a one-loss Washington, let's say, like, I think that they would still put them in if Michael Penix wins the Heisman.
But, ultimately, the only 2 teams that can still make the playoff out of the Pac-12 are Oregon and Washington. Or if Oregon runs the table, they would have 1 loss. And Oregon has 2 ranked teams left, Oregon State, USC. They're both at home. Washington has 3 left, and 2 of them are on the road. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, they're going to have to play another ranked team in the Pac-12 title anyway. So here's what I'm going to say. I think the Pac-12 champ has 2 losses. We've seen this way too many times from the Pac-12 where they just all eat each other up. It's going to be Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan winner, Texas at 3. I think they would give it to the Michigan-Ohio State loser over Florida State.
You think so? You convinced me when you said that they would... I agree when you say I think they should give it to the ACC winner. If Florida State finishes with 1 loss and they're the ACC winners, then they should get in. They should get in. So I agree. I think Texas could get in, but I think, it'd be Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan winner, and then very likely Florida State. As long as they stick, if they lose, I should say. Like, this is all just hypothetical because the entire thing we've just been saying we think that they're going to lose. Like, when in reality, Florida State is still 8-0. Like, they haven't lost yet.
Yeah.
So, we can't really be playing this game because these are all hypotheticals. Washington still hasn't lost. Florida State still hasn't lost.
We should have waited a little bit to do this because there's just way too many possibilities.
Yeah, there's just so much that you have to take into account.
I just think they're going to take a dump on the ACC if Florida State loses. I think Florida State's got to win out.
You really think that they would just shut them out like
I just think there's too many teams. There's too many teams right behind them. There's way too many teams right behind them for them to lose, I feel like. Because the ACC just is not that good.
Well, I think you undermine, though, how good Florida State has been in the past is the thing.
They're good.
In recent years, no, they haven't been very good. But in years prior, they've had that success before. So I think having that storyline of Florida State making it back to the playoff would still sell more ratings is the thing.
This is the year where we need the 12-team playoff. But it's not
I'm trying to think of this from the committee's perspective, because they want to say that they choose from the most objective standpoint, these 4 are the best teams, when in reality that's not the case. Like, we all know that, like, you have to sell ratings. You have to sell the better teams.
Yeah.
You know?
Like an undefeated
the more popular teams, I should say, not the better teams.
Yeah, like Air Force can be one of the last 4 undefeated teams, and you're not going to put them in, even though I think they could put up a fight just because they run the triple option so well. I'm not trying to argue Air Force is a top 4 team, but
and this is
they kind of took a dump on them, putting them at 25.
And this is not to say that TCU didn't deserve to get in last year. Like, I feel like this is kind of what they did last year, though. Like, they let TCU in, even though they lost the
last year was so much more
championship to Kansas
obvious,
State.
though. Last year there were so many like 2-loss. I'm actually going to look at last year's rankings really quickly.
How many 2-loss teams were there last year?
Every team was a 2-loss team, other than
the top
than
four.
the top 4.
Was it?
Because Tennessee had 2 losses. Bama had 2 losses.
That's right. I remember Nick Saban trying to make the argument that Bama should have been in, even though they had 2 losses. That's right.
Yeah. The only 1-loss teams were Georgia, TCU, Michigan, and Ohio State. Or
Okay.
1 or 0.
I retract my statement. I mean, again, that wasn't to say, like, TCU shouldn't have made it in, but, like, that's a smaller team that you wouldn't normally see in the college football playoff.
The sample size last year was so much smaller than this. There are so many teams that can get in.
Yeah.
All right, we need to make picks. And we need to make picks like quickly. Last week, I went 20-6. Jackson went 21-5. So he gains 1 game, and I lead by
Got 1 back.
I lead by 2 games. I am 161-53. Jackson is 159-55. So let's get the 26 games out of the way here.
Let's do it.
First game, Friday game. Big rivalry. This is a huge rivalry. Colorado State at Wyoming. These teams hate each other.
Wyoming is 5-3, right? 5-3? Yeah. And they've lost 2 weeks in a row. So Colorado State, not very good. They are 3-5. They're the opposite. So
people thought that they were good when they almost beat Colorado, but we ultimately learned Colorado was not good.
Plot twist of all plot twists. I'm going with Wyoming. They got the home game. They're the better team. They're going to be hungry for a win after losing 2 weeks in a row. So they're going to be real gritty.
All right. Number 1 ranked Ohio State goes on the road to play Rutgers.
I mean, you have to go Ohio State.
Rutgers is 6-2, and they get the game at home. But
Rutgers just beat Indiana, 31-4 on the road.
31-14 on the road.
Or the 31-14. Jeez.
All right. Texas A&M at Ole Miss. Ole Miss could make things really interesting. So Ole Miss basically has to pray that Bama loses 2 games. Because Bama has no SEC losses. Ole Miss has 1, and it's to Bama. So they need to hope that probably LSU
that Ole Miss loses.
Ole Miss needs to hope that LSU and Auburn both win.
Yeah.
Because Auburn, it doesn't matter how good Auburn is, they're going to give Bama a good game. But, yeah, pretty much. I think Ole Miss beats A&M.
Yeah, I agree. I think
they've just been flying under the radar, but they just don't have the, luck. This is kind of a bad term to use. They just don't have the luck of, having their 1 loss not be a conference. It's whatever.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be a really good game. Now, not so much. Notre Dame at Clemson. Clemson is 500, man. They're just not.
Are they really?
They lost to NC State last
they
week.
are 500. Damn. Or no, wait, 1, 2. Yeah, they are 500. Okay.
I'm going to go with Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I'll go with Notre Dame.
Clemson's just not been good enough for me to pick
Notre Dame.
UConn at Tennessee. I think it's pretty easy.
Tennessee.
Arkansas at Florida. Arkansas, they can't buy a win, man. They just can't do it. They lost 7-3 their last game to Mississippi State.
Florida 5-3. I mean, yeah, you gotta go with Florida at this point. They've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row.
Yeah, they need a win, man. And I don't think it's coming out of Florida.
I don't think it is.
I remember they started 2-2, and I looked at their schedule. I'm like, who are they beating? They're not even that bad of a team, but who are they beating? I don't know. Wisconsin at IU. Does IU improve upon their impressive motivating performance against Penn State with a win against Wisconsin?
No, they do not. They don't. I'm sorry. I know we're home, but I know Wisconsin isn't great. Well, they only have 3 losses, so they're good. So, yeah, give me Wisconsin.
I'll take Wisconsin as well, unfortunately. I will be at that game, though.
You'll be there?
Nebraska. Bowl eligible with their next win. Nebraska is at Michigan State.
Give me Nebraska. I mean, Michigan State is just...
0-5 Michigan State.
Michigan State has fallen off the table.
In conference, 0-5 Michigan State.
Fallen off the table ever since the first 2 weeks.
We need to look at the Big Ten standings really quick because they're just so hilarious. I almost sent this to you.
You sent me that one video where it was just the wrestling video, and it was just the 2 huge buff guys.
Penn State's like,
like trying to get.
But like Minnesota is currently there are 1, 2, 3. There are 4 teams in the Big Ten West that are 3-2 in conference.
God,
dude, like okay, it's so pointless to talk about because whoever wins is just gonna get blown out by Michigan or Ohio State. Who do you think is winning the Big Ten West though? Because ultimately, like it's
the Big Ten West.
That was a big deal for Purdue when they won the Big Ten West.
It was a very big deal. I'm gonna go. I mean, my family's from Iowa, so I'm gonna go with the Hawkeyes. So
I don't even know.
I keep hearing so many good things about them, but they just haven't really been able to.
That game to Minnesota
much.
might hurt them though. That fair catch is gonna cost them a Big Ten championship appearance.
That's gonna screw them over so much. It's just so funny to look at the Big Ten because it's just like the Big Ten East is so dominant. And then
I can't wait till next year when there's no divisions next year and IU doesn't have to play Michigan and Ohio State. They actually don't play either next year.
They don't play either. Yeah,
they play like at Oregon, which I mean, yeah, they'll lose at Oregon, but
just crazy scenario. What do you think happens if it's a 3-way shootout for the Big Ten? Penn State beats Michigan, but Michigan comes back to beat Ohio State.
What's even the next tiebreaker?
I don't even know.
I don't even know.
Who would make the Big Ten tournament at that point?
The Big Ten title game?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
If it ended in a 3-way shootout like that, then yeah, I have no clue. Would it just go based off of points?
You're gonna make me look this up. Hold on.
We don't have to. We can look it up after the air.
I gotta look it up now.
But I feel like it would go. I don't know. I guess based off points or something, or I guess strength of schedule.
Okay, hold on. Big Ten football. We decided teams that are not eligible to postseason. Shut up. Yeah, if Michigan gets a bowl ban, they can't.
We can't play them.
They can't play. The winner of the Big Ten football.
I've gotten so much shit the past week and a half. I'm so done with this story.
Okay.
Like every single video is about the Michigan thing, and obviously, like people can still tell me.
If 2 teams are tied, the winner. Okay, so if 2 teams are tied, it's head to head. If 3 teams are tied. Steps 1 through 8 will be found. What the hell?
1 through 8?
The records of, winning percentage. If teammates
like 2-0. Point differential?
This is way too complicated to look through. I'm just gonna...
Yeah, we'll worry about it later. But I have a feeling it would come down to like point differential or something like that.
That it had like 8 steps. I'm like, I'm not reading all
either
this.
Point differential, strength of schedule, whatever you want to say.
All right.
So
Arizona State at Utah. I'm taking Utah. They looked bad, man. I mean, they got blown out by Oregon. That's a motivated Oregon team. I'll tell you that.
That was tough to watch, but yes, give me Utah.
Army at Air Force. Air Force just keeps on winning, man. I think they should be the representative. If they go undefeated, they should be the representative in the
Army's not a good team, man. Army's not good. Give me Air Force.
If Air Force goes undefeated, they should be the Group of 5 representative in the Near 6 bowls.
Mm-hmm.
Although they currently have Tulane ranked ahead of them, but they didn't even have James Madison ranked. That was so disrespectful. Come on, man. Florida State at Pitt. Pitt's not going to be the team to knock off Florida State. They're just not going to be.
No. Give me Florida State.
Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's now ranked. This is a team that people did not think would be very good this year. I'll give you first pick.
Give me Oklahoma. I think it'll be a good game still because Oklahoma State is ranked. Obviously, they're at home, but I'm gonna go with Oklahoma.
All right, I'm taking Oklahoma State.
Cool.
Oklahoma is about to leave the Big 12 for the SEC, and they're not going to be playing Oklahoma State for a while. Who is going to want to get one last shot in at them and knock them out of the playoff? It's going to be their crosstown rivals. I think Oklahoma State comes out. Tickets for this game, I looked, were like $400.
Right now on ESPN, yeah, it's as low as $303.
It is more to go to this game than the World Series. Oklahoma State is winning this game. They're giving Big Brother,
I think it's going to be a really fun
punch
game.
in the gut right before they leave for the SEC. I think they win.
I think it's going to be a really fun game, but yeah, I got to go with Oklahoma.
Penn State at Maryland. I picked Maryland in the preseason. They're just not that great.
Penn State.
I was wrong about them. Virginia Tech at Louisville. Virginia Tech, I think, is just not good enough. So
yeah.
I'm going to take Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville.
Tulane at East Carolina.
I mean, I'm probably going to go with Tulane, but what's East Carolina? But oh my lord, they are bad.
What's their record?
They are 1-7.
Ooh, who did they even beat? They beat Gardner-Webb.
44-0.
Gardner-Webb is like on the lower tier of FCS.
I feel like I picked East Carolina at one point to win a game early in the season.
They played Michigan, I know.
Well, yeah, they played Michigan.
Just shows the caliber of teams Michigan plays out of
Jesus
conference.
Christ.
Their strength of schedule they just don't have the wins that Ohio State has. They don't.
Who are you mocking in this scenario?
The playoff committee, because they're like, oh, well, Ohio State just has some.
Okay, I thought you were like, I couldn't tell who you were mocking there, whether it was Michigan fans or other fans or who that was. Okay,
all
right. But yeah,
Illinois at Minnesota. Minnesota's at home and they have a Big Ten title appearance. They have a Big Ten blowout to play for.
Minnesota,
so
yeah.
I'm going to take Minnesota because Illinois just hasn't been good. Houston at Baylor. This is our weekly Baylor 50-50 game. Which
Baylor we never know about. Jesus, yeah, Baylor's not good.
I don't even know what Houston's been up to in their first Big 12 season.
Neither do I, honestly.
They beat West Virginia on a Hail Mary, I know. They're 3-5. Baylor's also 3-5.
Yeah, could go either way.
Baylor gets it at home, so I'm going to take Baylor.
I'll take Houston. I'll go other way just to make it different.
I think that's our first different pick.
No, you took Oklahoma State. I took Oklahoma.
Kansas, a ranked Kansas after beating Oklahoma, is at Iowa State.
Give me Kansas, but Iowa State isn't. They're not bad. They're what, 6-3?
Iowa State's favored.
5-3.
Iowa State's favored on the spread.
Really?
I feel like when I can get a team that's favored on the spread, different pick. I feel like I gotta take it. So I'm gonna take Iowa State.
You're gonna take Iowa State? I'll take Kansas. So.
All right. A Big Ten championship rematch at the Big House between Purdue and Michigan. I'm just gonna also take Michigan because I know you're gonna take Michigan anyway.
Did you see my brother's
Halloween
costume?
Wait, what was it? I forgot what it was. It was like Michigan sign stealing department or something.
My brother did a thing for Halloween. He just put on his
sideline recording in progress. Please do not block camera.
Yeah, he's got
I thought that was.
He's got like a little mini camera in his hand, and then just a piece of paper on his chest that said that.
Yeah. Okay. This is a big game, and I almost put this as one of the two feature games, but one of these teams doesn't have a chance to make the playoff. But one of these teams, USC, can still make the Pac-12 title. They host Washington. This is a massive game for both parties. I don't know who to take here. I really don't. Because it's just such an advantage that USC gets it at home, but like I do think Washington's a better team, but they haven't looked like it in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, I remember this was supposed to be like the huge top 10 matchup. Yeah,
it would have been if USC
it would have been like one of
loss.
the biggest games of the season.
If USC
this would have been one of the biggest games of the season. Like I'm with you though. Like I want to take Washington, but at the same time, the way that they've been playing the past few weeks has not been comforting or promising or anything. You know,
Washington's favored by 3.
Washington's favored. Okay,
I'm gonna take Washington. The reason I'm taking them. I'm going to attribute. Sorry, I'm going to attribute some of their poor play to the fact that they were preparing for USC. I'm going to make that excuse for them.
Okay.
And that they're going to really come out prepared this game.
I think I'm going to take USC. Because at this point, they know that they're not making the playoffs, so they have to start ruining other people's seasons.
But also,
they have to.
At the same time, is Caleb Williams really going to be trying his best? This is a guy.
I think he will. I think he will because
I think he'll try. Basically,
he's putting together his reel for the NFL. At this point, he's still got to prove that he can play.
Yeah.
He's got to prove that he can still carry a team at this point. Because if he just starts throwing in the towel, then the NFL is going to see that, and they're going to be like, well, if our team starts losing, this guy's going to crap out on us.
Someone noticed this. Last drive between USC and Utah. Utah's driving down for a game-winning field goal. Every person on the USC bench is up, getting their defense riled up, except Caleb Williams, who is sitting by himself, alone from everyone. Honestly, if I'm an NFL team, I'm staying away from this guy. He wants ownership of the team. He wants like a partial ownership of the team, despite how real that is.
I think
he's a prima donna. I don't want him on my team.
I guarantee you, he's still gonna give it his majority. I don't know if he'll give it his all, but I think he'll give it his majority because he wants to put together a good resume for the NFL.
The thing is he needs his all to beat Washington. So I'm taking Washington.
I'm going to take USC.
Miami at NC State. I don't know, man. This is a 50-50.
These are bad teams.
These are mid teams.
Yeah, not bad. I shouldn't have said that. I misspoke.
I can't take Miami. I'm too biased against Miami to take them.
I'll take Miami. Sure.
I'll take NC State.
Okay.
Oregon State at Colorado. Man, I really thought Oregon State was going to make a run for the Pac-12 title. Then they lost at Arizona. But ultimately, Colorado is just a flash in the pan team that is not very good. I'm sorry.
Oregon State.
Apparently, Colorado had a bunch of jewelry stolen from their locker room.
their locker room was vandalized after their latest game. Deion Sanders wants the students to be reimbursed.
One of the funniest comments was someone put like, "Oh, it's L.A. full of criminals. Should have known better. Keep your jewelry at home." And the reply was, "Fuck am I gonna do with jewelry at home?" like, which is a fair point. If you got the bling, wear it, man. Like, come on, at least to the game. But I thought that I just started laughing at that. I thought it was funny. Boise State at Fresno State. I'm taking Fresno State because Boise State's been kind of eh.
Yeah, same here.
All right, UCLA at Arizona.
I mean, give me UCLA.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. All right, two featured games. This is basically the final. This is basically the SEC championship game qualifiers.
Yeah,
there are two teams that hold the current position, and there are two challengers that are trying to take the position away. First game is Missouri at Georgia. Missouri only has one loss. It's to LSU.
They're a solid. They're pretty solid.
They're
team.
ranked 12, and if a win against Georgia would give them first place of the SEC East, and they would have the tiebreaker with Georgia should they win out. So this is a massive game for Missouri and Georgia. Everyone thought this was going to be Tennessee that came in with the one-loss agenda to take the spot. It's Missouri coming in. Georgia's favored by 15.5. Does Missouri have a chance to pull it off?
I'm going to say no, just for the simple fact that they're on the road. It's going to be very hard to go on the road to Georgia. They're number 2 now, according to ESPN.
The second best team in the country.
Second best team in the
I
country.
think that's only going to motivate them, though. Like,
I think so.
Oh, we're not the best team after winning back-to-back national titles? Oh, we're not?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Georgia's going to take it.
Not only does Georgia win, they win big.
Could still be a pretty good game.
Like, Missouri's good. They're catching Georgia at the wrong moment, though.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad.
Like the committee putting them at 2.
Now,
that's not what Missouri needs.
Now, if Missouri wins the game, that's insane and that's incredible for them.
We're flipping everything upside. The playoff picture's flipped upside down if Missouri wins.
Yeah, this is a episode of hypotheticals.
Yeah. All right, last one. LSU at Alabama. Now LSU has 2 losses. They can't make the playoff. But if they win, only one of those losses is an SEC loss. So if they win, them and Bama would both have 1 SEC. Hold on. Oh, I just realized something. If LSU wins this game, then Ole Miss would have a win over LSU. LSU would have a win over Alabama. Alabama would have a win over Ole Miss.
Another 3-way shootout.
Another 3-way shoot. I don't know if the SEC does it the same way. So Ole Miss needs LSU to win this game.
Yeah.
And LSU needs LSU to win this game.
Yeah.
In the latest SEC Shorts episode, it was each SEC team during like trick-or-treating, and some guy dressed like as your brother came to the LSU. He's like, I'll give you all the candy on this block for anything on Alabama.
That's pretty good. I like that. I like it.
I think Bama's gonna win, just because I don't think they're gonna lose to LSU 2 years in a row. Just how they didn't lose to Tennessee 2 years in a row.
I mean, I kind of want to make it interesting, but at the same time, yeah, LSU just isn't great this year. I think it's gonna be a game, but I don't think.
I want LSU to win. Basically, if nothing else, for Ole Miss's sake. Ole Miss has never made an SEC title, ever. They've never made an SEC title. And, like, they're good enough this year, man. I, like, kind of want to see Ole Miss make it to Atlanta just because I know it would mean a lot to those fans that have never made it.
Yeah.
So, but they got to be really hoping LSU wins this game to get that 3-way tie, and then who the hell knows what happens after that. But, I mean, I just think Bama's going to win. Like, they might be down in the first half, but they're just gonna find a way. Mm-hmm. The only team they couldn't find a way against was Texas, but since they've been getting their season rolling, they've just been finding a way. So I'm going to take Alabama. We were like 39 minutes over time just because the person behind us isn't coming. So sorry to keep you here all day, Jackson, but I'll leave you with the last word.
I mean, basically it's the same last word I always leave with. Yeah. Check out iOS TV. Check out all of our other podcasts. Check out our other departments and everything. We've got a lot of great content thrown your way. So check it all out.
Take care, everybody.